As a DB, you can do everything right and still not make the play. This position doesn't care how good you were on step 1. It cares whether you were right on step 1 and step 100. Press man tight split on the 10-yard line. It's a high probability that this receiver runs his route into the end zone. One mistake early becomes 6 points. In this rep, this DB is playing catch man technique, a technique that DBs struggle from middle school all the way to the NFL, including me. Catch man requires a great base, footwork, patience, leverage, and the most underrated tool is knowing your arm reach. Let's break this rep down the right way. The DB starts outside leverage perfectly for a tight split. At the snap, the receiver gives a small outside step. This is where young DBs panic. They think an outside jab means jump outside now. But when you already have outside leverage, that jab doesn't require a panic step. Receivers only have 2 real options here. Option 1, actually take the outside release. If he truly releases outside, you already own that advantage. He must go around your leverage. And with your feet plus your hands together, you can widen him towards the sideline and shrink the route. Option 2, he fakes outside, snaps back inside, and climbs vertical. This is what most receivers do on a tight split to get you to widen out. They flash outside to trigger your fear step, open up your hips, steal that inside lane untouched, climb vertical, and own the route. And in this rep, the outside step is bait. Either way, staying patient wins both outcomes. Overcommitting loses both. And this DB stays patient. After the outside bait step, the receiver pushes vertically. This is officially catch man mode. And knowing your reach separates good DBs from elite DBs. It's like boxing. If you know your reach, you know the exact moment when your opponent enters your strike zone. You don't chase, you let them step into it. That's exactly what happens. As the receiver climbs, he steps right into the DB's reach. The DB responds flawlessly. Full extension, step replace, feet and hands perfectly tied together. Most DBs fail here in 2 ways. Mistake 1, using T-Rex arms. If you don't fully extend, you can't absorb contact. The receiver gets inside your chest and your frame collapses. Your hips freeze and separation happens immediately. Full extension makes your arms shock absorbers. They take the hit so your leverage doesn't break. Mistake 2 is using your hands without bringing your feet. This is the most common catch man failure. When DBs throw hands and they don't step replace, your chest overextends, your base locks, you lose your balance, and the receiver gets inside your frame. Arms alone can't control the receiver. Feet alone can't help you win catch man. It's hands plus feet helps you win catch man. This DB ties both together. Extension plus step replace equals top shoulder control. Now, he's perfectly in position. If the receiver tries to bounce back outside, he must fight through the DB's outside leverage. And that's a straight up slugfest that the DB will win every time. This is textbook catch man. The receiver breaks underneath, but not a slant or dig. It's a crossing route aiming towards the middle of the end zone. Look at the picture. Another DB is flowing over the top. So the DB makes the correct choice. He goes underneath to avoid colliding with his teammate. This is not panic, this is not beat, this is controlled positioning. Crossers force DBs into 2 choices. 1, go over top, risk a collision. 2, go underneath, clean angle, maintain leverage. He chooses correctly. By slipping under, the DB keeps his speed, his leverage, and a clean angle to re-enter phase. And he does get back in phase beautifully. Freeze the frame. We are now entering the end zone. There is no vertical space left. This is exactly when elite DBs think vertical space is gone, I can turn my head and play the ball now. But he doesn't. Here's the fix. Look closely at this geometry. The receiver is in between the DB and the back of the end zone. There is 0 vertical space. The only threat left is a sudden directional snap. Not in front of you, but snapping the opposite direction. This is the fear that DBs have. If I turn my head, he might snap back the other way. And here's the elite solution almost nobody teaches. Use your inside arm as a hip sensor. Not grabbing, not pulling, just a light placement on the hip or the receiver's backplate. Your hip sensor becomes your radar. It tells you if he throttles, if he pivots, if he spins, if he snaps the route back across the inline. The hips always move before the head or the shoulders. Once you anchor the hip, you're free to turn around and look for the ball. You won't lose them, you won't get spun, you won't get tricked by the counter move. Tight splits expose every weakness you have as a DB. Your leverage, your patience, your eyes, your ability to stay calm in chaos. But this rep shows the blueprint. Win the leverage battle early, Know your reach. Tie your hands plus your feet together, taking the correct angles on crossers. Use your hip sensory in the end zone, and finish with discipline. Most DBs lose tight splits because they panic once the receiver starts playing pace games. Elite DBs slow down the rep. They understand geometry, they understand leverage, they understand timing. And when you do all that, you don't get tricked. You don't get moved off your spot. You don't lose the play you already earned. This is how you survive tight splits. This is how you play elite catch man. This is how you finish reps that turn touchdowns into interceptions.